Hello, you're listening to the Chinese Chat Poetry Talk podcast. 中文热聊之诗歌漫谈. I'm the host, Li Bai. Welcome to my channel to read Chinese classic poetry, learn and practice Mandarin. On this program, we invite Shenzhan Liao from China Institute, New York, to read and discuss Chinese classic poetry. Welcome, Shenzhan.
Today we are reading Song You Ren. Departing is a very common theme in China's classical poetry, as is reflected in life. Imagine in ancient time without any modern means of transportation, it's very time consuming and taking a lot of effort to travel. Without any cell phone, Zoom, WeChat, WhatsApp, or at least emails to stay connected, we could imagine friends. When friends are saying goodbye to each other, the emotions may be very different from how we feel today. This is one of the most famous departing poems by Li Bai, whom was born in Tang dynasty in 701 AD. He is arguably the most celebrated poet in China's history, and his reputation as 诗仙, celestial of poetry, referring to his poetry as so powerful, direct, yet natural, as if Li Bai possesses or is possessed by the kind of talent only celestials or supernatural beings may have. Song You Ren is another example. Let's take a look at the entire poem first. It is almost a textbook, well-constructed, geniusly regulated verse, 律诗. As usual, I will read aloud the entire poem first. I will read from the top. 宋有人，青山横北郭，白水绕东城。此地一为别，孤蓬万里征。浮云游子意，落日故人情。挥手自兹去，萧萧斑马鸣。All right, let's get into individual lines. 青山横北郭，青山横北郭，白水绕东城。白水绕东城。此地一为别，此地一为别，孤蓬万里征。孤蓬万里征。浮云游子意。浮云游子意，落日故人情。落日 故人情。挥手自资去。挥手自资去。萧斑马鸣。萧斑马鸣。So that's the entire poem. We just read it. It's only 40 characters if you count each character. Here is the entire poem again. We know there's always something lost in translation. In the case of translating a Tang poem or any Chinese classical poem, the essence of the poetic beauty, I have to say, is unfortunately largely lost, to the point that we touched upon this last time. If you just look at the English translation, it may be hardly recognizable that it is this poem. And it may appear perhaps even puzzling if you just look at the English translation, why the Chinese poem and Li Bai have such a high status to begin with. Maybe that's just my assumption. Poems always carry more than just the literal meaning. In the case of Chinese classical poems, I will invite you to keep in mind each character in the poem has at least 3 layers. The pictographic writing, each representing an image. The sound, each with a distinctive tone, giving the image a musical layer. And it's part of the regulated verse, or in general, the classical Chinese poetry, that the rising tones and the falling tones have to complement each other. For example, the first line, 青山, the 2 characters in the first line are both rising tones. And then the first 2 characters in the second line, 白水, both are falling tones. 青山 paired up with 白水. This is just a very simple example. Of course, well, the rules for writing a regulated verse is so much more complicated. And the third one, of course, is the meaning that the character represents. All of the 3 layers must be carefully arranged by the poet so that individual characters come together, woven into an image that conveys meanings and emotions, and at the same time musical. In Li Bai's case, reading his poems like this one, at least it could make me feel he could arrange these 40 characters so effortlessly, yet the imagery and the sound strike the heart of one's emotion regarding friends departing from each other. All of that I cannot get from the English translation. So with that, let's just read the entire poem one more time together from the title. 送友人。青山横北郭，白水绕东城。此地一为别，孤蓬万里征。浮云游子意，落日故人情。挥手自兹去，萧斑马鸣。
Thanks for your listening. I'm Li Bai. 我是李白。See you next time. 我们下次见。